December 6, 2025, Chapter 7, Attributes of Arihat, Point D, page 707, Wisdom, Self-Mastery, bhāvita-paññā. The basis for Arihat's wisdom is the ability to see things as they truly are. This clear seeing starts at cognition of the sense object by way of the six senses, ayatana. With a mind that is equanimous and mindful, not swayed by pleasure or aversion, such a person is able to observe sense impressions from beginning to end without being distracted or disturbed by it. Ordinary people, on the other hand, tend to get stuck at the point where sense impressions produce a feeling of pleasure or aversion. As a result, they tend to elaborate on distort ideas about things they encounter. They have false understanding. They see things clouded by defilements, asavas, or kilesas, rather than what they see as truly are. Take, for the example, a person who agrees with a statement when he has been flattered, but disagrees without the flattery. Or a person may agree because he likes the speaker, or yet disagree when the identical subject is mentioned by someone else he dislikes. Arihats are not deceived by external appearances of things. They acknowledge all facets of the truth and do not attach to just one perspective. The wisdom of Arihat helps to dispel the claim of Buddhism in a pessimistic doctrine. For example, those who realize the truth, the satcha of Buddha Dhamma, know that the five skandha, the aggregates, are neither exclusively painful nor exclusively pleasant. A person who is to be enlightened must understand the merits, attahita, and disadvantages, attahita, of sense desires, as well as the deliverance, nibbāna, from it. The merits are seen as merits, the disadvantages as disadvantages, and the deliverance as deliverance. The abandonment of sense desires and the end of both hankering of the world and grasping of the five skandha, the five aggregates, is due to seeing the way of deliverance, nibbāna. A person will be independent of such merits and disadvantages, abiding in sukha, in happiness. A happiness that is subtiler and greater than happiness conditioned by pleasant and unpleasant experiences. The exquisite things in this world are not referred to sense desire, kama, only. A person's lustful intentions constitute sense desire. The exquisite things in this world abide just as they are. Therefore, the wise only remove the fascination for these things. Another level of wisdom is the comprehension of the universal characteristics of anicca, dukkha, and anatta, lakkhana, the three characteristics, and of language, in particular of conventions, samadhi, and destinations, paññāti. Comprehensions of language includes understandings of the nature of the worldly speech, lokkiya vohara, knowing how to use language to convey meaning without clinging to linguistic conventions. A monk whose mind is liberated sides with no one and disputes with no one. He employs the speech currently used in the world without attaching to it. An arihat with taints destroyed may say, I speak this way, and they speak to me this way. Skillfully knowing the world parlance, he uses such terms as mere expressions. Monks, I do not contend with the world, rather than the world that contends with me. A speaker of the Dhamma, Dhammavati, does not dispute with anyone in the world. Whatever the learned ones agree upon are not existing in the world. I too say that it does not exist. Whatever the learned ones agree upon as existing, I too say that it exists. These are worldly terms, expression, manners of speech, and destination. The Tathagata uses these but does not attach to them. With the arising of paññā, wisdom, seeing how all conditioned things originate from interdependent causes, a person understands the world according to the truth, satcha. This is the rising of a corrective worldview. Metaphysical beliefs and theories, as well as doubts, vanish automatically. Monks, when the remainderless fading away in the cessation of ignorance, whatever conflicting, obstinate, and confounding views exist, such as, what are the mental formations? Who owns these mental formations? Mental formations are one thing. The owners of such formations are another thing. The life principle, jiva, and the body are the same. The life principle, jiva, is one thing. The body is another. All these views are abandoned. A bhikkhu would inquire, what is the cause? What is the condition by which a learned noble disciple will not have doubt arising concerning the matters of the Lord has not explained? Gautama Buddha replied, with the cessation of ignorance, learned noble disciples will not have doubt arising concerning the matters that I have not explained. An unlearned, unenlightened person does not clearly know views, the origin of views, the cessation of views, the way leading to the cessation of views. Those views increase, and he will not be released from aging, death, sorrow, lamentation, pain, grief, and despair. Another feature of an attahita-sampatti wisdom is that he or she does not rely on faith or belief as a quality in the Tipitaka called attattha, faithless. This quality is opposed of disbelief and faithlessness in the ordinary sense, which means not believing due to the lack of confidence in others or due to obstinacy. Here it means one does not need to believe because one knows and sees with clarity. One knows for oneself and is independent of knowledge of others. Faith implies reliance on someone else's knowledge when one does not yet clearly know for themselves. Again, faith implies reliance on someone else's knowledge when one do not yet know clearly for themselves. Once they have seen something as it truly is, there is no need to depend on others for knowledge. This is knowledge that is greater than faith or belief. Of things that are fully known by himself, evident to himself, he does not have faith in others. Neither ascetics, nor Brahmins, nor gods, nor Maras, nor Brahma. He does not believe others concerning things fully known by himself, evident to himself. That is, formations are impermanent. Formations are dukkha. Formations are non-self. With ignorance as condition, there are mental formations. Likewise, Venerable Sariputra said to Gautama Buddha, in this matter, I do not go with faith to the Blessed One. This matter I know, I have seen, experienced, realized, and discerned with paññā, wisdom. Therefore, I have no doubts for uncertainties. At the time of Gautama Buddha, people were very interested in the concept of the great man, Mahapurisa. Therefore, there are many passages in the Tipitaka in reference to this term. There are references to the characteristics of a great man, Mahapurisa Lakhana. For example, in the case of a Brahmin, predictions about Prince Siddhartha, which were based on their ancient texts, but from the perspective of the teaching, more interesting passages pertain to the question posed to Gautama Buddha after his awakening of those who is worthy of the title of the great man. This frequent question shows that the concept was still important in the matter of debate. On one occasion, Venerable Sariputra went to see Gautama Buddha and asked him this question, Venerable Sir, it is said that a great man, in what way is one a great man? Gautama Buddha replied, with the liberated mind, I say, Sariputra, one is a great man. Without a liberated mind, I say, Sariputta, one is not a great man. This replies indicate that Gautama Buddha considered an arihat, one who has completed the four aspects of development, to be a great man. His reply is very brief and succinct, focusing on final criteria, a completion of the 4 kinds of development, cultivating and liberating wisdom. No matter how skilled or proficient a person may be, if he is still not fully liberated from mental defilements, he is not yet a great man. To be worthy of this title, one must be free from dukkha. For example, one's thought possesses are truly free from the restrictive of impurity. One does not mean that one obtains everything that one wishes, for the faces no obstruction or coercion from others. On the highest level, one's wisdom is free from any domination or manipulation from a fabricated sense of attattha, fabrication of self. One's thoughts do not simply follow one's desire, propelled by tanha, propelled by mana, propelled by ditthi, by craving, conceit, and fixed views. In any case, the reason Gautama Buddha's brevity here is most likely because he was speaking to Venerable Sariputra, the foremost disciple, proficient in paññā, in wisdom. Gautama Buddha thus mentioned only the decisive criteria, along with tying it in concept of liberation with the teaching of the 4 foundation of mindfulness, presenting the supreme perspective on this subject. A teaching by Gautama Buddha which elaborates on the concepts of the great man stems from the conversation he had with Vesakhara, the chief minister of the town Magga. On one occasion, Gautama Buddha was staying in the bamboo grove in Ratchakut or Ratchaka. He was approached by Vesakhara, who said that according to his own doctrine, a person considered to be a great man with superior paññā, wisdom, is endowed with 4 attributes. First, he is highly learned, well informed by various fields of learning, understands the meaning of various statements, able to distinguish one from another. Secondly, he has a good memory. He remembers and recollects what has done and said long ago. Thirdly, he is skillful, diligent in attending to the diverse chores of a householder. And fourthly, he possesses sound judgment, knowing how to carry out and arrange his affairs. After presenting this explanation, Vesakhara asks Gautama Buddha whether he approves or rejects the statement. Gautama Buddha replied, saying that he neither approves nor rejects the statement, but that he himself describes a great man with superior wisdom as possessing 4 other qualities. The first quality, a person practices for the welfare and happiness of many folk. He is one who has established people in the noble way. That is, he is endowed with beautiful and wholesome qualities. Second, he thinks whatever he wants to think and does not think what he does not want to think. He intends whatever he wants to intend and does not intend what he does not want to intend. Thus, he has attained to mental mastery over the ways of thought. Third, he gains at will without trouble or difficulty of the 4 absorptions concentration, the jhanas, that constitute the higher mind and are pleasant abiding in this very life. And fourth, with the destruction of taints, he has realized for himself with direct knowledge the taintless liberation of the mind, the liberation by wisdom, and dwells in it here and now. Although there are many teachings of Gautama Buddha on this concept of the great man, they usually appear in the verse form and are relayed to people's specific questions. So most are either brief or focused on particular aspect. The teaching presented to the chief minister above is in prose. It contains clearly defined principles which are relevant to everyone. The 4 aspects of self-mastery, bhāvita, are incorporated into the 4 attributes of the great man. Mahapurisa, expressed in a different way. The four attributes reveal another aspect of the four kinds of development, highlighting the superior and exceptional capabilities of an arhat, which are difficult for an ordinary person to attain. The first attribute reveals how an arhat, those who have fulfilled the holy life, brahmacharya, are no longer burdened with any personal concern, including any form of spiritual training. From the time of their full awakening, they devote themselves entirely to the welfare and happiness of the multitudes, which become the essence of their lives. This corresponds to the goal of the holy life. To Theravada Buddhism in its entirety, which is encapsulated in Gautama Buddha's frequent exhortations to act for the benefit of many folk, for the happiness of the many folk, out of the compassion for the people in the world. This compassion, altruistic action, also points to the connection between individual happiness and promoting the happiness of others. In whichever way one describes the attributes of an arhat, including the preceding description of the fourfold self-mastery, they always rest firmly on these three essential qualities of paññā, especially called vijjā, liberation, vimutti, or moksha, and compassion, karuna, which is the force radiating knowledge, and paññā, wisdom outwards, resulting in others obtaining knowledge and arriving at deliverance. If we identify an unawakened beings as someone bound, wisdom is the knife that cuts the bonds. Liberation is the release from the bonds into freedom. And compassion is once a person is no longer agitated and anxious about his or her own concerns, the look into others with who are still bound and eradicating them or freeing them. Technically, vijjā is the path to magga, whereas vimutti is generally concerned with fruits as results of phala. The authors of later texts, however, have divided vimutti into more detail as two parts, as both path and fruit. They say that the act or moment of release is the path, and the state of having been released and abiding is freedom is the fruit. The realization of Nibbāna is complete in paññā, and liberation, vimutti, and karuna, compassion, is the subsequent acting for others. In other words, personal concerns are ended at wisdom and liberation. Matters to be done for others are deeds then taken up by compassion. It's good to note that these three qualities of wisdom, liberation, and compassion, liberation is a result. It is a finished condition and faculties further action, but it's not the agent itself. Wisdom and compassion are agents. Wisdom is the factor bringing about the realization of Nibbāna, which is the accomplishment of personal concern. Compassion is the factor that helps to settle the affair of others. For the reason, wisdom and compassion are professed to be primarily attributes of the awakened Buddha. Wisdom is the essential element for personal welfare or for the completion of a personal benefit, while compassion is the essential element for others' well-being or the practice of benefiting others. In short, the awakened Buddha's attribute of the two kinds of completion of personal benefit with wisdom as agent and practice of benefiting others with compassion as agent, both the completion of personal benefit and the practice of benefiting others are meaningful and genuine because they are confirmed by liberation. Liberation is proof of the arrival at Nibbāna. It is the essential characteristics of Nibbāna. It is synonymous with Nibbāna.